back in the house again, man. Look, talking about why did I start a dump truck business. I'm giving you the background still, even in this video. We talked last video about the birth of it all, even into just trucking and my story of how I began into my young adult life, right? 19 years old. I've told you how I came from furniture delivery business of my mom, which gave me a thirst for business. Angola, as a correctional officer, taught me how to manage people, right? Come on out of that into a concrete truck driver, taught me the independence of the road, gave me a thirst for the open road and seeing something come from nothing to something, right? All right, so that's all part of my journey, and everything that you go through and where you experience and where you work out, it's all a part of your journey, y'all. Don't think where you're at now is no mistake. And I'm trying to help somebody to know you can come from meager means to get to where you need to be. My mom, like I say, lawsuit to start a business. We were not well off by any stretch of the imagination. So I don't care where you are, what your lot is in life. You can fulfill your dreams. I want to talk today about making 78 hours at the concrete plant, right? So I want to talk today about the beginning, the thirsting or something of that nature. I'll label it. But I'm getting 78 hours at the concrete plant rolling. $700-800 a week. I'm feeling good about myself. And I never shall forget an old man, one of the older guys, 67 years old. I was in my 20s. Mr. Arthur Tillotson had a conversation with me one day in the break room that would change my life. Just out of the blue. I don't know what prompted this man to say this to me. I think it was God. He says, man, you're a young man. Don't get old like me and find yourself still here. I'm like, okay. He said, my son is at Rodea, which was a plant. He said, you ought to be in a plant somewhere. He said, don't find yourself getting old like me and you still here. That messed me up, y'all. And I left at work that day thinking like, man, that old man said that. He said, you know what? He's right. I would like to do something, make more money and be able to take my life to another level. And I began to set out to see how I can get in a plant. And now you would have to know South Louisiana, we're known for plants, all gas and all kind of stuff. Plastics, it don't matter. That's why cancer rate is high down here, because we pollute the air with plenty of plants. And so I had a friend of mine, cousin of mine that was in a plant. Supposed to have a hookup. I could come in as a class B cement finisher making $20 out. Back then, remember, 1997, 8, 9, that's good money. And that would be double of what I was making at the concrete plant. So I set out, and my cousin told me, oh man, guaranteed, get you in. And man, lo and behold, the guy that was the hookup got fired. And all of my attempts to put in applications and paper me, all the kinds of plants, fell through. No go. Nothing happened for me. No door opened. I was discouraged. And so as I rebounded from my discouragement, I asked myself and say, okay, well, what else can you do? What are your skills? I said, well, dog, I said, I do. I have a class B CDL. I am a truck driver. Maybe I can go and get my class A and go across the road or something. So I remember getting paperwork on Snyder. At that time, Snyder had a program where they would hire you and then train you and then turn you loose. I was getting ready to do that. Bought a truck paper. Let me bag up. And so I was getting ready to do that. And then in the conversation with that same guy, a friend of mine who left Angola to go drive a concrete truck, he was talking about that same thing. We was talking about doing it together. And then I remember him saying, well, man, I don't know, man. I even thought about maybe getting my own truck. I said, that's interesting. I never thought about that. So I got a truck paper magazine and I started looking at road trucks. I might like to get my own truck too. If I'm going to do it, that might be pretty cool. Work for myself. And so in looking at the truck paper magazine, what do I see for sale also as well as road trucks? Dump trucks. Like, dump trucks. Oh, yeah, I do see dump trucks. And I started noticing, paying attention to dump trucks around town as we would deliver concrete. I'm like, man, they got a lot of dump trucks around here. They must be doing pretty good. But lo and behold, one of the guys at the plant, well, he's actually a mechanic at the main plant, came down there that day, and his son and him had dump trucks. And I asked him, I said, Big Leroy, I said, man, thinking about getting a dump truck. I said, don't your son nowadays? He said, yeah, me and my son. He's kind of French. Me and my son got dump trucks. You need to talk to my son. I said, okay. And he gave me his son number. I called him. We called him KC. Call KC. Say, your dad gave me a number, man. I'm thinking about getting a dump truck. He said, okay. He said, yeah, man. We have a tandem and we have a triaxle. He said, if you go get anything, get a triaxle. I said, okay. And but I didn't ask him any specs or anything. He just told me to get a triaxle. That was the thing that the customers wanted at that time. This was back in 2000, and triaxles was the thing. Well, that's where it was first making that shift to being the thing. So lo and behold, I'm starting looking at triaxle dump trucks now. I'm like, okay, all right, this sounds pretty good. I think I could manage this. Saw one in Houston, Texas. All right, but at this point, I want to tell you that's you see how my story unfolded, right? From an old man telling me something, and even when that fell through, it planted a seed. Don't miss that. It planted a seed for me to want more, to do more. So I didn't let it stop me. Okay, plant deal didn't work out. What can I use that I already have? Talk, boy. That's a nugget right there. Many times you can use what you already have. So I said, well, I already got a license. Maybe I can upgrade it to Class A, but then boom, here you go. I can use what I actually got now. Instead of go road truck, go dump truck. So I say, cool, you know what? That's what I'm going to look into. So I'm looking in the magazine at dump trucks. And saw one I liked in Houston, Texas. Nice. Yellow. Looked pretty clean. Looked good. And my credit was pretty good. Here goes the financial piece for y'all wondering, how do you do it, though? My credit was pretty good. And I went to my credit union, who I already had a checking account and was pretty good with. And I applied for a line of credit. And they approved me for $12,500 line of credit. After making up my mind, you know what? If these people approve me to get this truck, I'm going to do this. I'm going to step out here. I'm going to take a chance and do this for myself. I called them, inquired. They told me, they hooked up the finances, told me I needed $7,500 down. I said, okay, well, I got that. And said, we just need to verify that, who you going to work for. Well, I was working for the concrete plant, right? So one of the guys that was real close, good with me, I called him up one day, and one of the bosses in the office, hey, man, I really want to I like working for you guys. I said, but I want to do something for myself. I say, somebody is going to call you. Would you give me a good reference that you guys would possibly give me some work if they approve me for this truck? He said, Pierre, I'll do that for you, man. I watched you. I watched your work ethic. I'll do that for you. Lord behold, he did that for me. He told them, gave me a good reference that I possibly could be getting some work with them. Boom, they approved that thing. I went to Houston, Texas, brought $7,500 down and put on that truck. And they did a dyno test on it. So the engine was good, readings, all that stuff was good, transmission good. It was a Ryder converted road truck. That's another story I'll tell you about with the conversions. But it was a nice looking truck, brand new Warren bed, PTO, all of that stuff. And fresh yellow paint to match the yellow cab. It was a Ryder truck, R-Y-D-E-R. And I bought it. I left there that day in Houston, Texas, and come back to Baton Rouge with a dump truck. It was a 1994 model with 600,000 miles, but it was fleet maintained. That's what allowed me to feel good about it. It was fleet maintained, which means they took good care of this truck. So it was the year 2000, and it was a 94 truck. So 6-year-old truck, 600,000 miles, which means that truck was getting about 100,000 miles a year on it. So I bought it. I come back to Baton Rouge, feeling good about myself, and I am now officially a business owner and in business with my own truck at 20, let me see, this is the year 2000, 27 years old. And now you got to stay tuned for what's next and what happens and the rude awakenings that I got once I got a dump truck. Hit a like and subscribe, notification bell. Follow my story. Why did I get into the dump truck business? Catch the next video.